Hi, I'm Linda Shenton-Matchett, and welcome to Moments in History. During my research, I often unearth fascinating information that doesn't make it into my books, so I created this channel as a way to share these intriguing tidbits. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the Pony Express. From St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California, the Pony Express could deliver a letter more than twice the speed of its fastest competitor, traveling more than 1,800 miles in just 10 days. And despite only operating for 18 months between April 1860 and October 1861, the Pony Express has become synonymous with the Old West, the thread that tied the two coasts together of the country. Its reliance on the ability and endurance of young, hardy riders and fast horses was seen as evidence of the rugged American individualism of frontier times. As a result of the 1847 Mormon exodus to Utah and the thousands that moved west on the Oregon Trail starting in the 1840s, the need for fast mail service between the Rocky Mountains beyond the Rocky Mountains became obvious. In addition, the 1849 California Gold Rush brought thousands of prospectors, investors, and businessmen to the area, bringing newfound prominence and a rapidly growing population to this territory. By 1850, California had joined the Union as a free state, and within a decade, the population had grown to more than 380,000 people. Then, as the American Civil War approached, the demand for a faster way to get the mail and other communications to and from this westernmost state became even greater. In 1858, the Postmaster General Joseph Holt scaled back the overland mail service to California and the central region of the country. Enter Butterfield Overland Mail Service and other private carriers who stepped in. Unfortunately, they met with marginal success. Then three businessmen by the name of William H. Russell, Alexander Majors, and William B. Waddell created the Leavenworth and Pikes Peak Express Company, later known as the Pony Express. They were already in the freighting and drayage business, and at the peak of their operations, they employed 6,000 men, owned 75,000 oxen, thousands of wagons and warehouses, plus a sawmill, a meat packing plant, a bank, and an insurance company. By using a short route and mounted riders rather than traditional stage coaches, the men proposed to establish service between St. Joseph, Missouri and Sacramento, California, with their letters delivered in 10 days. Many people said it was impossible. The initial price was set at $5 per half ounce, then $2.50, and by July of 1861, only $1. They had hoped to win an exclusive government contract, but that did not come about. During January and February of 1860, they secured 400 horses from around the West, costing an average of $200. The animals averaged about 14 hands, which is about 58 inches tall, so not quite 5 feet tall, and 900 pounds each. Thus, the name pony was appropriate, even if not strictly correct in all cases. They set up 184 stations and assembled 120 riders, as well as several hundred station and administrative personnel. So listen to this ad in the March 19, 1860 Sacramento Union newspaper. Men wanted. The undersigned wishes to hire 10 or a dozen men familiar with the management of horses as hostlers or riders on the Overland Express route via Salt Lake City. Wages, $50 per month. One of the founders, Alexander Majors, was a religious man and resolved by the help of God to overcome all difficulties. So he presented each rider with a special edition Bible and required the following oath which they had to sign. I, insert name, do hereby swear before the great and living God that during my engagement and while I'm an employee of Russell, Majors, and Waddell, I will, under no circumstances, use profane language, that I will drink no intoxicating liquors, that I will not quarrel or fight with any other employee of the firm, and that in every respect I will conduct myself honestly, be faithful to my duties, and so direct all my acts as to win the confidence of my employers, so help me God. In 1860, the stations were about 5 to 25 miles apart, depending on the terrain. And then at each stop, the express rider would change to a fresh horse, taking only the mail pouch called a mochila, which is from the Spanish word for pouch or backpack. Now, the employers stressed the importance of the pouch. Reportedly, they often said that if it came to be, the horse and rider should perish before the mochila did. The mochila was thrown over the saddle and held in place by the weight of the rider sitting on top of it. The saddle horn and the cantle would project through the holes that were specifically cut to the size of the mochila. And then attached to the leather skirt of the mochila were 4 cantinas, or box-shaped hard leather compartments where letters were padlocked into for the journey. The mochila could hold 20 pounds of mail, along with 20 pounds of material carried on the horse. Eventually, everything except 1 revolver and a water sack was removed, allowing for a total of 165 pounds on the horse's back. Riders, who could not weigh over 125 pounds, changed about every 75 to 100 miles. They rode both day and night. In emergencies, a given rider might ride 2 stages back to back over 20 hours on a quickly moving horse. Whether the riders tried to cross the Sierra Nevada in winter is unknown, but they did certainly cross central Nevada. The riders received $100 a month as pay, and a comparable wage for unskilled labor at the time was only about 43 cents to $1 per day. So you can see why men were anxious to be part of this lucrative business. The approximately 1,900-mile-long route started on the Missouri River and followed the Oregon and California trails to Fort Bridger in Wyoming, and then the Mormon Trail, which was known as the Hastings Cutoff, to Salt Lake City, Utah. From there, it followed the Central Nevada route to Carson City, Nevada, before passing over the Sierra into Sacramento. Mail was then sent by steamer down the Sacramento River to San Francisco. On a few instances when they missed the steamer, riders took the mail by horseback to Oakland, California. As mentioned, the stations were located depending upon terrain, and the stations and stations keepers were essential to the successful, timely, and smooth operation of the system. Often fashioned out of existing structures, several of them were located in military forts, while others were newly constructed in remote areas where living conditions were very, very basic. The route was divided into 5 divisions, and at each swing station, riders would exchange their tired mounts for fresh ones, while home stations provided room and board. This technique allowed the mail to be moved across the continent in record time. Shortly after the Pony Express started, from May through June of 1860, the Paiute War occurred. A minor series of raids and ambushes initiated by the American expansion into the territory of the Paiute Indian tribe in Nevada, the conflict totally disrupted the Pony Express service. During the weeks, other isolated incidents occurred when whites in the Paiute country were ambushed and killed, and the Pony Express was a special target. 7 express stations were attacked, 16 employees were killed, and around 150 express horses were either stolen or driven off. The war cost the Pony Express Company about $75,000 in livestock and station equipment, not to mention the loss of life. In June of that year, the uprising ended through the intervention of U.S. government troops, after which 4 delayed mail shipments from the east were finally brought to San Francisco on June 25th of 1860. 10 weeks after the onset of the Pony Express operations, Congress authorized the bill instructing the Treasury Department to subsidize the building of a transcontinental telegraph line to connect the Missouri River and the Pacific coast. On October 26, 1861, the line was completed and the Pony Express officially terminated its services. However, it was not until November that the last letters completed their journey over the route. Despite its heavy subsidy, the Pony Express was not a financial success and was bankrupt by the time it ceased operating, having grossed $90,000 and lost over $200,000. In 1866, after the Civil War was over, Holliday sold the Pony Express assets along with the remnants of the Butterfield stage to Wells Fargo for $1.5 million. Most of the original trail has been obliterated either by time or human activities. And along many segments, the trail's actual route and exact length are matters of conjecture. But in 1992, the route was designated a National Historic Trail and is managed under the National Park Service. Thanks for watching Moments in History. Be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you won't miss future installments. If you enjoy history as much as I do, be sure to stop by my blog, which is found on my website at www.lindashentonmatchett.com. Thanks. Have a blessed day.